Hello and welcome to the Inbetween Podcast. I'm user host Joe Swan. I'm joined by Tony RT. How are you, Tony?
But bonjour. Well, very French apparently. So
Why are
it
you
can't be
very
helped.
French? What's going on?
I don't know. I'm just pro France right now.
Right, well, aside from that, Tony, has anything interesting been happening to you in the gaming world? I know you've been playing City Skylines recently.
Well, I was gonna wait until looking at the dock. I was gonna wait until we got down
Yeah.
to the City
I
Skylines
I
part.
saw
So.
I saw that there was a City Skylines DLC that added like plazas, and I was like, oh fuck it, Tony, I have something to
It's
say
like,
about this.
yeah, like they added I was playing. I think it was like the second or third day I was playing like my City Skylines thing of like trying to play in a
He's
city
not
like trying.
saving it.
No, I'm not saving it. I'm
Okay,
just gonna quick. I'm just gonna quickly say they announced it as I was playing it, my idea for City Skylines. That's what I'm gonna say. And I was like, oh, I didn't know this existed, but now I know. Now I know.
Well, also recently, a couple of days ago, actually not even that long ago, you drove me an electric car for the first time.
Oh yeah,
My first time ever being in an electric car, which is
yeah,
pretty interesting. I was surprised how quiet it was.
yeah. I'm gonna be honest. I've not driven on the motorway with the electric car before, and it's a lot quieter than I was expecting.
Yeah. Well, I found I could hear the radio. Like normally in your car, I'm
Yeah,
like I can't hear the radio, but
yeah.
then I could actually hear it in the car. And also when you were like driving around, you had the car had to add extra noise to make sure people
Yeah.
around you knew it was
It goes
moving, sort of thing.
beep. Yeah.
What's
I find it. Yeah, it's
which
interesting.
car was it that you were driving?
It's the Vauxhall Corsa E.
Right.
So the other, obviously there's Corsas, normal Corsas that aren't electric as well. So it's not
Yeah.
like a pure electric car. So it's converted combustion car.
Hmm.
I think it is like the cheapest electric car for that sort of mileage on at the moment. So
That's good.
yeah, I mean it kind of shows how poor the market is right now, like how expensive electric cars are, which kind of sucks.
Yeah. I think it's
But
because
yeah, well,
like all of the hype and the big electric cars are like the Teslas,
I
electric sports cars like isn't there like a
yeah.
BMW one? There's like
Well, I think what's happened is because it costs a lot to make factories for these things that they started with high margin cars and then slowly work their way down the stack, and we're not down to the bottom yet.
yeah, I think that has been the problem for years, and it's still the problem now. There's
Yeah,
not really an
it.
affordable electric
I
car.
think if it wasn't for the pandemic and it wasn't for chip shortages, we probably would have been there by now. But both of them coming right after each other is not helped at all.
Well,
Even normal cars are expensive
not
these
even
days.
just like the pandemic making people, not even the pandemic chip shortages. People didn't need cars in the pandemic
No,
either. A lot of
no.
people, which I think probably killed development of smaller, more affordable
Yeah,
electric
100%.
batteries.
Because they wanted at that point, once that happened, they wanted to sell the better margins,
Tony, what
even
do
the cheap ones.
handheld consoles, VR, and electric cars have in common?
Uh, they're all portable gaming systems.
Yeah, if you have a Tesla, yeah. No, I mean
Yeah,
the biggest thing holding them back is that they can't make the batteries small enough, hold enough,
yeah.
and have good enough thermals. That's the
I
number one thing holding back electronics right now.
Yeah. So the interesting thing with electric cars, so they're almost all electric car batteries are water cooled these days because
Mm.
the Nissan Leaf had terrible, terrible. As in colder countries and hotter countries, they wouldn't keep their charge as well. So after a couple of years, you'd actually start losing range. So
Yeah.
they're like, oh, we need to actually have water cooled batteries because they really hate this swinging temperature. So it's once you keep them cooler, they seem to hold their charge. Their longevity does a lot better. So I thought that was interesting.
Mm.
But yeah, we're at a point now we're waiting for more efficient cars use the existing battery to be able to get the range.
Mm. Yeah. Oh, I realized I've been playing a ton of games again, Tony, and I have no footage. Well, I have footage of them, but we haven't talked about them because
Oh yeah.
just like I've been playing too many games. I think I talked about it last week. The Wheel. I played Sleeping Dogs, and it is sick. Um, really, because I was saying like previously, I was like, I don't know if I like open world games anymore.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
played Sleeping Dogs, and I was like, I love this. This is great.
It's open
So
world game.
yeah, I mean,
I think to me, like it really comes down to like I'm not done with like the concept of open world, but it really comes down to like how they've like filled the world. Like if
yeah.
they've made like just a really boring,
I mean,
bland
I look at that,
Ubisoft open
I
world.
look at that new Saints Row game, and I'm like, I don't
Yeah,
care about this.
yeah, exactly,
It
exactly.
just like looks like a generic, fucking open world GTA clone sort of game, and I'm just like, I don't care.
Yeah, but I'd argue
Um,
GTA is way better because like, there's actually like things you can do to interact with
oh,
people more. And then, even then,
I'm a GTA enjoyer. I
you're a
have like
GTA Online enjoyer.
yeah, I have like 200 hours of GTA 5 online. So,
It's crazy. Yeah, Sleeping Dogs is
speaking of
great though.
GTA, did you ever play a game called The Simpsons Hit and Run? A Simpsons GTA game.
I I did actually.
I
Yes. I
also
think
did, and a friend of ours, friend of the show, Scorn Retorts, Michael himself, from Michael's Big Weekend, shout out Michael. Um,
yeah.
he's actually been playing I think The Simpsons Hit and Run on PC is considered abandonware at this point. So he was
Right.
playing a version he found online, just modded it to get it to run. But there's actual full-scale mods for this game, and one of them is a full conversion of the Simpsons Hit and Run into a Futurama game, which is absolutely nuts. I saw this and I was like, holy shit, like, childhood me, this is like everything I wanted. Like, this looks amazing. It must have taken them so long to make this.
Like, I love.
I think I went in the forum post and it said posted in like 2012, 2013 or something, updated like a week ago or so. So I was like,
Oh right.
they've been working on this for a long time. Like,
I mean, it
um,
is crazy. Wait, this whole like the map looks huge.
yeah, yeah, it's
That
nuts.
is insane. No wonder why it took so long.
But I love stuff like this because it said on the post, it said, or at least on the YouTube comments, it said end of August, early September. We're at the end of August now, so probably September now. But
Yeah.
yeah, should be coming out real soon. TM. This just looks absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I went up. Got
It's insane.
next up we have Kenna Bridge of Spirits is getting its Steam release and it's getting a new game plus mode as well.
Oh, thank
This was
God. I've been waiting for this game.
yeah, because this game looked interesting. I'm a fan of like 3D platformers. I liked the like
Yeah.
Pixar style, but then it was PlayStation 5 and Epic exclusive, I believe. Or
Yeah, I don't own an Epic console, so
okay, you don't own a television Amico, or
no, unfortunately not.
or an Ouya.
No, I do not own an Ouya.
Okay, that was everyone's favorite console. But yeah, cool. This coming to Steam. Usually, what happens is a game comes out. I'm like, that's cool, and then it goes Epic exclusive, and I go, okay, I'll wait a year
That's
for it
less
to come
cool.
to. I'll wait a year for it to come to Steam because I can't be
Yeah,
bothered to buy things on Epic.
I think
Not that I'm particularly against Epic. I've bought like a game on
I'm
Epic,
against
but
launching on Epic. I think.
it's like I bought a game on Epic and I was having problems with it, and then the place I went was the Steam forums because
Yeah,
the Epic forums don't exist. Like there's so much value proposition from buying a game on Steam that Epic just can't offer, and they've really been
that,
slacking compared to Steam.
yeah. I feel like as well. Like I feel like initially, like Epic had like these like big updates, like quite like a lot of big updates, like to push
Yeah.
some of these features, and they kind of just went, ah, it's good enough. Let's just slowly work on it now.
They added the shopping cart, right?
Well, the recent thing they've done was the like adding the review system that we see now with like the star rating, right?
Yeah. So they added like the badges where you could
That's
say this game is really good to
yeah,
play with friends, or this game is really good to play. if you're into this sort of thing. Like they added the weird like little genre things that you could add to the Epic Games Store.
I just feel like it's it just pales into comparison to how Steam systems work.
Hmm.
And it's like they don't seem to be like throwing money at it in the same way they used to. Or maybe not. Maybe throwing money is not the right way of thinking about it, but like development time is definitely like decreased.
Yeah, but I think Kenna looks cool, so I'm interested to try it out.
I'm excited for Killer.
Next up, we have Mordhau is coming to consoles. This is going to be interesting. I have no
That's
idea how this is going to
interesting.
play with a controller. So much of it is, swinging like physically with the mouse. Like there's a thing called dragging, which is the idea that you swing at someone, and then as you're swinging, you like turn, and then you use
Yeah.
the end of the drag to hit your opponent. So you go in, you make it appear as a miss, but you're using the momentum of the drag in order to hit them again. Like there's so many. Mordhau is a game that I feel like can never be mastered because of how high the skill ceiling is in that game. It is really, really fun, but also like desperately needs like newer players that aren't, fucking pro level athletes in every lobby sort of
I
thing.
would. Do you think they'll do a thing where, like, if you hold down like a trigger button, you then like use the camera analog stick to like move your character and
I don't
sword
even
around?
you
Maybe
even
that's what they're gonna do.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you can play Mord how on PC with a controller. Like, how was the
Yeah,
experience with that?
I'm curious. Yeah, I'm really curious.
Someone said they played Chivalry on PC with a controller and ended up mostly with a controller. I've been playing Mordhau with a controller since I got access to the alpha. It feels more immersive. I find in average duel servers, I can sometimes duel another less skilled player and hold my own. So it seems like, from what this guy said, it sounds like when he fights someone worse than him, he's able to keep up because of the controller disadvantage.
Right.
Although somebody said there are very good players in the game, someone called Plow, who plays with a controller. But yeah, I'm interested to see. I don't know if it's going to have crossplay. I think crossplay would be a bit hard to do between mouse and keyboard and controller, obviously, because of the inherent problems between mouse and
Yeah.
keyboard versus controller. Because there's no aim assist, right? Because it's not an FPS game.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean, even then, there's like it's like kind of sometimes can be terrible to match each other like cross platform. But I guess it depends. I don't know. I feel like it's worth maybe having an option, but maybe like give massive warnings of what you're like stepping into.
they said crossplay before the end 2022. I think, is it crossplay between the consoles? Yeah, so there's going to be crossplay between PlayStation and Xbox,
Hmm,
but there won't be crossplay with PC.
that makes sense.
I think that makes sense.
But what if you plug a mouse and keyboard into your console?
You can do that on both the consoles, and it's very easy on Xbox.
Is it okay?
And I've plugged a keyboard into a PS3 to type things into the search bar, so it's probably you can do it on PlayStation as well. I just haven't used the consoles, so I have no idea.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Bloody Hell Hotel. It's like a mix.
Bloody oh.
It's basically it's a mix between a first-person horror game and a management sim. So the idea is you're a vampire
Oh, that's great.
who needs to feast on guests at a hotel. So you have to build like this like gothic hotel up so guests come, and then you need to like sneakily feast on them at night and have other vampire guests come to feast on the inhabitants in order to keep
Yeah.
going. I thought it was a really cool genre mix between like horror and management. I was like, oh, that's a really cool idea. And I like the first person perspective and aesthetic as well. I think that's
It's a
much
bit
more
of
up
a
my
reverse
alley.
horror management game.
Oh, reverse horror management game, yeah. That's a good way to put it.
I love the furniture in this.
Mm.
I mean, I'm a massive fan of gothic and like medieval stuff, so the massive heads are a bit weird. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm. It seems like there is some like like combat as well, like first person
Yeah.
combating as well, sort of thing.
I'm interested to see how this actually plays out instead of just like the trailer, but it looks very interesting.
Yeah, it actually looks really cool. And then Tony, we've got the huge news of the
Okay.
podcast. We have city skylines, plazas, and promenades. So I looked at this, Tony. I said, you can now build like weird hexagon structures in the middle of like student campuses and stuff.
Yeah. So
what is
yeah.
this?
So I have slightly more information than there's been a couple of small videos that's been released after this
Right.
I guess announcement trailer, I suppose.
Yeah.
So okay. So the idea is that you'll be able to build buildings along, because in the game at the moment, like if you zone areas to like have buildings on, like it has to be on a road.
All right.
This will allow you to do it along a path only for bikes or people, right?
Okay.
But you have to do it in an area that you've designated to be like it's kind of like the parks DLC where you just like draw like a district and say this is a park, and then you can like add park stuff to that. It's very similar, but like for like plazas. So like this is a pedestrian area. So the reason why they've done that is so like you have to put in a spot where like rubbish and be collected and goods can be dropped off to then like be walked to the buildings. Which I thought was an interesting way of doing it. But the roads are usable outside these areas. But yeah, this is like really, really good because like I really want to do cities and things like try to de-emphasize roads and like having like these like lead in from like walkable areas into parks. I'm really curious to know how that's going to combine.
Well, I was going to
So
ask you. You've been playing City Skylines recently with a mega
yeah,
mod list that you. I would say probably the principle is to de-emphasize roads and try and put
yes.
more trees and nature back into the cities.
My
Make
my
it
yeah my
more
plan is
pedestrian, bike friendly sort
yes,
of
yeah,
idea.
pedestrianized. Well, the words that I didn't coin it, but like I found is that it made me like inspired is like walkable city. Whereas like the idea is you can like without any like only using public transport or like walking or a bike or something, you can get anywhere. I was
Yeah,
like trying to do that in Sea Skylines, wondering if like how possible it was because I do know in Sea Skylines that the way the game thinks about like cargo and like freight is like using cars more than anything.
yeah,
So but you can like add in. So yeah, I was like using trains and trams and like bike and like walking paths to like try and get around this, but like using the parks DLC in the middle of cities. And it's like been working out quite well until it catastrophically failed. But
yeah.
that
Because
might
you
be just
said
that
that
might be me problem.
you were having problems with traffic and you weren't sure how to fix it and
Yes.
you wanted to start again, sort of thing.
Yeah. So because I made so what I've been playing like this like past week. Well, I guess last week I was playing it all for. I was just building like it's like I think I was checking my saves. And I think it's like the first time I've played the game since like 2017 or 2018 or something.
You haven't played it since 2014, I think it was.
Well, no, I can't remember seeing the last time I played was 2004.
Oh,
So
that's what it was. Yeah,
before the game came out, I had
2004
last.
was a good year for City Skylines.
I have no idea. I think that might be a bug with my computer more than Steam, and Steam just went, "Yeah, I trust the computer." Yeah, I had Okay, so yeah, so I was saying is that it's the first game I've played in ages. So I was like just building like really like simple grids basically with like a few roundabouts and like curves. Like I got more adventurous as I went on. Like I was just using like intersections with traffic lights, and it's like oh okay, and now I'm starting to have problems with that. The
Right.
reason why I then rage quit though, because then my roundabouts were also having issues. It's like, well, if my roundabouts aren't working, what's the point of living? So that's why I rage quit.
Will the plazas and promenades DLC be added to the Tony Mega
A
Mod Pack?
hundred percent. I'm genuinely gonna buy it on launch. Like I'm
Well, there it
excited.
is.
I'll wait for reviews. So it might be shit. So the thing is, the
Paradox and
airports
DLC.
DLC.
Like
Yeah.
sometimes, bro, I don't even know.
So at the beginning of this year, the airports DLC came out, and it sounded like for people who really like airplanes, it'd be like the perfect DLC. But apparently, they fucked
Right.
up a few things, and it's not quite right. So I'm hoping they haven't fucked it up here. But
Well, we're going to be
we'll
talking
see.
about something Paradox has done with DLC later in the show, which
Yeah.
I think is kind of dumb. But
It's in the blunder section, so
yeah.
that's
One
our
thing
opinion
before
on
we
it.
get out of the random shit and trailer section, Tony, I've hit the button to download and install Windows 10. I hit it earlier today, and I was like, oh, I should do
Windows 11.
Oh, Windows 11, yeah. I was
Yeah.
like, I should do the podcast before I restart my computer because otherwise I might have some issues. But I wanted to.
You're upgrading.
I'm going to the future, guys. I'm going to be on Windows 11 the next time you see me.
Are you okay? Question: Are
Hmm.
you pro-centered icons, or you like want to switch
I
back to
think
the
I'm
left?
gonna try and use center
Okay.
icons. I don't personally have too much of an issue with centered icon. I don't have that many icons on my taskbar.
For me personally, I want it on the left, but I do agree that it looks better in the center. I just think it's a bit of an ask to change it, but they might change it.
I do use a third-party program for Windows called Display Fusion, which adds extra taskbars to my other screens. So I'd be interested to see how that works with.
Does it
Windows
fix
11?
the Windows 11 issue?
Because that's really useful to have like multiple fully functioning taskbars on each one of my screens.
100%.
And also, I'm interested to try the auto zone option of having like splitting up screen stuff. I've been using Power Toys.
That's really good.
Instead to split up one of my screens into specific sections, but I'm interested to see like how the turning off a monitor on and off feature works with the zone feature that's in Windows 11. I think we're going to get File Explorer tabs soon because they're in the dev branch of Windows 11 right now. So, and
my question is,
File Explorer tabs
storage soon, TM?
I think direct storage is finished from the Windows side. It's now pretty much on game devs and graphics card vendors like AMD and Nvidia to figure out how to implement it into the GPUs.
Do you think we'll see that in like the 4000 series then? Like, do you think it'd be graphics card specific or driver specific?
To be honest with you, I'm not sure what's going on.
No.
Because
I haven't heard anything in months.
I've been waiting right now. Like, I've been saving up like at the moment because I'm waiting for the next tech release, and whether that's going to be the 4000 series or the next VR headsets is what I'm looking to like potentially be getting into, because I got the original Vive headset, so I'm looking towards the Cambria, hopefully the Steam Deck Card. I'm really hoping Valve's going to release like a wireless headset, and it's really compelling. And I would immediately
the Index 2 with the Steam Deck
with the like Wi-Fi 6E connectivity sort of thing. Or because I've got a 2000 series card, I would be looking to upgrade to the 4000 series, whatever. And given that we're seeing like reports right now that the 4080 is like twice as powerful as a 3080, and the 4090 is twice as powerful as a 3090, and Jesus, it's getting to some ridiculous.
I hope those rumors are true, but I feel like maybe temper expectations is what I'm thinking.
And apparently they're going to be some thirsty cards, so I might have to get a new power supply. And then if I get one of those new Ryzen CPUs, I'll have to get a new motherboard and RAM and power supply and CPU cooler and graphics card.
A new cooler. I was going to say
PCIe drive.
Just get a new computer and a new head. Just upgrade your hopes out.
Anyway, let's go on to Joe's weird VR game of the week. We have Metal Gear Solid VR. Someone's made a Boneworks mod that takes the first Metal Gear Solid game and puts it into a virtual reality level. This stuff looks really, really cool.
That's crazy. I wouldn't even expect that to be possible. I'm going to be honest.
I'd love to see like old games taken and then just added into like VR. We've seen like Metal Gear is really cool. But Return to Rapture, Bioshock, and Half-Life Alyx is really cool. Yeah, this time VR just makes other experiences really compelling, like going back and playing older things and being like, oh my god, I'm seeing this from a totally different perspective, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I believe they must have done some like AI upscaling or something to the textures, sort of thing, but like just how like chunky and stylized the pixels are of like a lot of the architecture, that they hold up pretty well, even if they have been upscaled, sort of thing.
Yeah, looking at the people, they seem to be like the most pixelated in terms of
Definitely
like
want
their
to check this out at
textures.
some point. I have Boneworks, but I haven't got into it yet. I feel like Boneworks is one of those games where you really want a wireless VR headset, which is why I'm sort of
Yeah.
haven't got into like Boneworks, or Blade and Sorcery would be another great one for a wireless headset. Yeah, it looks genuinely really, really cool. So excited to try that at
Yeah,
some
this is
point.
great. Oh,
Um,
1998 is when it first came out. They were like,
what's
Jesus,
the
it's an
last game I
old
was playing?
game.
Oh, I did play a bit of VR last month, even though it was boiling flipping hot. I played the new Tentacular game from Devolver, which is a VR game that came out this year, and it's really cool. So
Okay.
gonna try and play some more of that as well. Really, really cool. If you haven't checked out Tentacular yet, and you've got a VR headset. Let's move on to quick news. We have Tiger Woods to become the color athlete of PGA Tour 2K23. So Tiger
Well,
Woods is
yeah, the up
back.
and coming athlete.
And there it is. Tiger Woods is. Does he still like? Is he still competitive in golf? I don't watch golf
Yeah,
at all.
so only reason why I know this is because it was on the radio like a few months ago. So, and I think like Marcus Brownlee talked about it as
Marcus
well, and he's
Brownlee.
like, so apparently like he kind of like fell off and then came back, and it's like the first time ever in golfing.
Yeah,
So
it's interesting. Because he's going. I don't know how golfers are on the older side, right?
yeah, but even then, like he's older than like what other people competing are. Like he's like
It
on the
says
older
he's
side.
like 46 years old. Tiger
Yeah,
Woods.
they're
I'm not
normally
sure.
like young, like early 30s or something.
Because whenever I think of golf, I just think of old people. So I'm like, yeah,
Um,
professional golf would
yeah,
be like
old rich
80 or
white
something.
people, right?
Yeah. But it feels like the reason I bring this up is it feels like for the longest time when you saw a golf game, like a PGA game, it was Tiger Woods on the cover for the
Yeah,
longest time.
back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah. And then everything changed, sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess my first thought, I think of like Tiger Woods as a name, like I think of like the controversies, but apparently like he's still like
Hmm.
a good golfer and things. So I
Well,
guess
he's been on the cover since like I think his first cover was Tiger Woods PGA was like '99.
yeah, I want to say it's about yeah, like turn of the millennium was like yeah, I think that's right.
He was on it from like '99 to like 2014. It seems like it's kind of crazy, like that longevity of being like the face of PGA. Um,
Well, I just feel like in my head, like he still is. Like I can't like not see him. Like he's they might rename it to like the like Tiger Woods tour. Like that's kind of just how I think about it.
yeah. Next up was Tony. We were talking about this for like 10 minutes, and I was like, save us for the podcast. Guild Wars 2 is released on Steam.
Yep.
So Guild Wars 2, it's a game me and you have both played quite a lot of. You've played a lot more than me, but I've played pretty much all of the story content up to Path of
You played
Fire.
the Path of Fire story, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't
Did
really
you ever
touched
do
Heartthorn.
Hawthorne's story?
I went back and I tried some of it, and I was like, I don't really like this that much.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Path of Fire is much better than
But I've played the
Hawthorne's.
base game and I've
I've not
played
completed
Path
it
of
either.
Fire.
Yeah.
New expansion just came out. End of Dragons. What do you think of that? Just quickly as an aside.
I have not played enough of it, but I can't remember if we talked about this before, but basically I was like
Scorn Retorts is very pro fishing. The new fishing.
yeah, the
content.
fishing is actually good. The fishing is actually decent. I mean, I'm
Oh,
not a
cool.
fan of fishing, but it's actually got like it's kind of like the Stardew Valley sort of mechanic.
Oh, like the bobber
Like you have to
thing.
like keep it in the bar.
Right. Okay.
So there's like it's actually like quite involved. It's not just like Minecraft where you like just like wait for something to happen. So it's like okay, it's like there's stuff to be doing.
Hmm.
But yeah, like I thought it'd be like, oh, they're just like cashing in to like try and get the Asian market right, and it's like I played it, it's like way better than I thought. It's like actually using like the lore they've got and like expanding it. It's like, oh, okay, this is actually really
Well,
cool.
I don't know if you know this, Tony, but Guild Wars 2 is pretty famous for featuring dragons on a lot of their content.
Yeah,
There's quite a lot of
no more
dragons in Guild
dragons.
Wars 2. There's even a dragon in the logo of Guild Wars 2.
Yeah, they
I just,
advertise dragons
I
to
mean,
like sell the game.
I remember when I was playing like the beta for Guild Wars 2, like years ago. Um,
Yeah, like over a decade ago
the big
now. Oh
trailers that
no.
were out for Guild Wars 2, it was all like focused around that big purple dragon guy. Or
Yes.
as I like to call him from the April Fool's joke, that's a big chicken.
Yeah.
Um, but
So
yeah,
technically, that's the dragon. So the big purple dragon isn't even like the big elder dragon, and
right.
like so that's just like one of the lieutenants of Krakatorik, like the actual like big monstrous purple dragon, which you see in Path of Fire helping you like in the end fight. That's the actual real
When
purple
like
dragon.
the thing with Guild Wars 2, I think it really excelled was it allowed you to sort of level up how you wanted to. You could go around and
Yes.
do crafting, harvesting. You could go around and do dynamic hearts. Your
Yeah.
level would scale downwards, so you could just go to any zone really.
Yeah, you wouldn't be like, oh, I'm in this different area. Like, there's no point me doing it. It's like, no. You're still valid, and like it's still possible to
I
level
feel
that.
like that was Guild Wars 2 double-edged sword, really. I think it was that
Yes.
the fact that all content was doable and completable, but it also meant that not a lot of content felt impactful. And I think there was this
I
idea of you were trying to have it so your impacts would change the world, but then they got overwritten very quickly, and it didn't really feel like you were
Yeah.
having an impact on the world with like how these dynamic events would start around the map.
The dynamic, yeah. Once you start playing for long enough as well, the dynamic events are just like, oh, well, this is how this map works. Which I guess is more interesting than just the static map, but like it
Yeah.
just feels like what you've done is what you're doing is pointless because it eventually just reset and then you do it again.
When New World got really popular on Steam, I was like, damn, so many people don't know they really want to play Guild Wars 2. I was like, this is Guild Wars 2.
Yeah, genuinely, I don't say as I've already got this game. Like it already has me.
Yeah.
Like I prefer the combat in Guild Wars 2 than what I've seen in
Mm.
New World. So,
Yeah,
uh,
I liked the combo of Guild Wars 2 because I like the idea of you having different skills on different weapons and then being able to cycle between those weapons. That's something I always really liked about the game.
I
Um,
yeah, I like. I know that people disagree with this, but like, this is like for me. I like how there's like less skills, but like they're more. Well, they meant some of them. Okay, some skills are pointless. Let's be clear. But like I like how there's
yeah,
like less skills than overall than like more typical like World of Warcrafty MMOs. But like they're more like it depends how what order you put them in, rather than
yeah.
just this is for this situation, this is for this situation.
You may know that we're Guild Wars 2 fans if you've followed the podcast for years because we generally talk about it when there's no updates or Colin comes back as he has recently.
Colin, yeah,
Colin's
his
back.
only fan shirt.
Okay. What was I going to say? So the way it works on Steam is anyone who already owns the game is not supposed to be able to add their account to the Steam version. The idea of the Steam version is that it's bringing new players in by adding it to the Steam platform. So anyone who goes on Steam now and goes, I want to play an MMO,
Oh my god.
now that they see this on Steam and go, oh, this is something I haven't heard of, then they can purchase it through
Yeah,
Steam.
but
The reason they would want to do this is because when you sell something on Steam, Steam then gets a cut of everything you sell. So you don't want to give players the ability to tie their account to Steam, and then if they buy an expansion through Steam, Steam takes a massive cut of it.
yeah, you want
Um,
to do it for your stuff for the existing players.
yeah. But people have already found that if you you go to the launch properties of Guild Wars 2 and add provider portal, you can log into your already existing Guild Wars 2 account and still play it through Steam. So
Yeah.
there is a way, if you really want to play Guild Wars 2 through Steam, you can do it. If you already have an account, obviously, like me and Tony do.
I just realized that I didn't even think about this. One of the reviews I just read was like, "Oh, this game runs well on the Steam Deck." Like, oh,
True. One of the big
okay.
things I wanted to mention is one of the big games that literally changed how the Steam Deck worked was Final Fantasy XIV. Gabe
Yeah.
Newell played it with his son, his other son that isn't Grey Newell, who is more
the
more of a
other
public
son,
figure.
the other son, yeah.
Because he wanted a way to bond with his son. I think he healed him in like raids and stuff or something like that. And he was like, "Oh, I can play
Yeah.
Final Fantasy in the Steam Deck." Something broke it, and it meant that because one of the things in the early Steam Deck days it struggled if you launched a Steam title which then launched another window, so an MMO where you launch it on Steam and then it launches like a login
Yeah.
window for the MMO
Yeah,
launcher. I think they literally fixed this because Gabe Newell was like, "I want to play more Final Fantasy XIV with my son."
And he only plays on a Steam Deck, of course.
So yeah, so apparently maybe my I don't know if I announced it, my brother has a Steam Deck now. I have not used it yet, but I should. He said he wanted a like RPG game to play to like relax
Guild
him.
Wars 2.
Guild Wars 2. That's my
Guild
recommendation
Wars
on
2.
this. Guild Wars 2
Well,
on
it's
the
free.
Steam Deck.
It's a free trial version of like the game, so like, you can like generally just download it and try it.
Yeah, I mean the base game of Guild Wars 2 is free, and if you don't know, if you're worried about being an MMO, there's no sub fee for Guild Wars 2. It's something I really love about the business model of Guild Wars 2.
It does have lots of microtransactions, which is like a downside,
Yeah.
but it's not sub though. It's not sub.
So the microtransactions are sort of on the PoE tier. If you know how PoE works, where it's like character slots or inventory slots, stuff like that.
Some of it is bullshit. Some of it's like, oh, it's just like aesthetics, or like, oh, it's just like not
Yeah.
actually like important. But then some of it's then. For my personal annoyance is there's in the game now like you can have like different like armor slots, like so like you can like just switch between different armor like sets that you've created. You can buy armor expansions, but they're only like per character. It's like, why isn't this like count bound?
If you tied your ArenaNet account to Guild Wars 2 on Steam, and then you bought the expansion through Steam, what happens?
Yeah, I've not seen anyone talk about that.
You're the community hub.
I have a funny thing it wouldn't work, because I think what you're doing is bypassing like you using your Steam account to log in and then like logging in manually. I could be mistaken. I am curious to know if anyone's talked about that. I find it interesting this game is excluded from Steam's family sharing service. Well, that makes sense, I suppose.
There's a lot of like abusive things you can do with Steam Family Shares to like hide like accounts and use it to cheat and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say like for like
okay.
I don't know, like I mostly see this.
This is something I wanted to talk about you, Tony. I said Guild Wars 2 releasing on Steam and all the DLC costing £86 seems a bit expensive to me.
Yeah.
You pointed out, somebody coming in who's never played the expansions, they could come in and just try the base game. They wouldn't immediately, buy all the expansions, just buy one expansion.
Yeah.
But I think, as I'm seeing on the Steam forums, other people are coming in, seeing that the expansions cost a lot and going, oh, this game costs a lot of money, I'm not even going to try it.
Right,
sort of thing.
Right. Okay.
I
don't know. I maybe it's just like how I see it differently, because like I'm gonna give an example of like a different game.
I think you're seeing it differently because you've invested so much time and money into the game already.
Well, I don't think so. I want to give a different example of a different game I haven't invested so much time to. So Elder Scrolls Online. So I disagree with like how it has like tons of like little tiny DLCs. I really like the idea of just like having like these big expansions they release like every couple of years, every year now. I don't know. But like I quite like they're like I think they're £20-30 expansions every time. But like I played Elder Scrolls Online. Like I bought the base game. I think I bought the base game with like one expansion. Like they had like a deal on, and I was like, oh, this is really good. And I then like looked into like buying one of the expansions, like in order of like in order in the story basically, like in
Yeah.
order. And it's like, oh, okay, it's like this expensive. But obviously, like if I looked at the whole thing, it's like, oh my god, it would cost me like £100 to get everything. But like, I don't see it like that. Like I don't need to like get everything right away. Like I appreciated. I think the other thing as well is like if the game had like genuinely like if Guild Wars 2 like genuinely like just released like both on Steam and like in general and like it came out with all these things, like fair enough. But like this is like an old game like showing all its content. I don't know. Like to me it's just like you don't need all the content at the start. Like just slowly buy stuff that you want to play.
No, I was having a
And that's how I've always
conversation. I was having a conversation with a friend earlier because I was playing the new Diablo 3 season, and he was
yeah.
saying to me like, "Oh, I could just buy the base game for Diablo 3. It's £8." And I was saying to him, "You kind of want to get Reaper of Souls and the Necromancer class as well.
Yeah.
It's
I can see
kind
that.
of core to the experience to have those things like immediately, sort of thing."
Yep, yep.
And I feel like it's it's different for Guild Wars because you don't really experience a lot of the expansions. Is there anything in the expansions you would get access to early game?
Um it depends.
You only unlock the mounts when you do the Path of Fire content. How is the Path of
Yeah,
Fire content
yes.
locked off to a certain level?
Yeah, you need to be max level for all of
Okay.
these stuff, really. The thing is, though, if you're then going to go like level up another character, you will have it unlocked for that character. Like once you've
Yeah.
unlocked it for one character, you have it for everyone. Which
Mm.
is why I would actually recommend like don't look at the 86 or £87 complete collection bundle. Mainly, well, one I don't rate the Living World. I just buy the expansions personally.
Yes, that was something I
Like if
wanted
you're
to
gonna
point
like
out. You
if
can you
a
can
starting
separate.
DLC is like the Heart of Thorns and Path of Fire, like is what I'd recommend getting. Like
Yeah.
if you want to buy something, but not everything.
So something I wanted to say is there's the complete edition which has both of the expansions that you can buy separately, but it has the Living World content, but you can only buy it bundled with the other DLC. They don't allow you to buy it separately for some reason.
Yeah. Well, one thing I will say is you can buy Living World seasons in the actual gem store in game. So I'm wondering if they like don't want you to buy it through Steam.
So the Living World DLC seasons 2 to 5 is non-refundable and cannot be purchased on Steam separately. Living World episodes become playable at level 80.
Yeah.
So this will be content that you'll experience at max level, right? Is Hearthstone's max level as
Yes.
well?
Yeah. So basically, you level up from 1 to 80, and then like living, like
Wasn't
you
it
go for
one?
like some of the
Wasn't it 1 to
dungeons.
70? Did they increase the level cap, or am I
No,
thinking
no,
of
it's always
wrong?
80.
Okay, right.
They've never increased it. It's always been 80. They've only added like mastery points like with the expansions.
Mm.
Yeah, basically the Living World is like technically in between the expansion stories. So I think it goes season 1, season 2, Heart of Thorns, season 3. Yeah, season 3, Path of Fire, season 4, season 5, Ender Dragons. I believe that's correct.
One thing I wanted to ask, have you played since they changed from DirectX 9 to DirectX 11? Have you noticed any
No,
points of improvement?
I've not played in
Because
a
that
long
was a
while now.
big
Like, it's
thing
been
for me.
months.
Was I would run the game on my hardware and I'd be going crazy. Like I'd be getting like super low FPS just sitting
Yeah.
in a city. I'm just like, the hell, this game is not well
Yeah,
optimized.
in settings wise, what we've had to do is because like it's very like CPU bound with like so many people. Like if you turn down like how you render other people, you tend to get like way better FPS. But even then, like it's still like it used to chug. Even once
Yeah,
once you get like 100 people in one area, like it still would like chug down to 40. Like a
that's it.
really
Tony,
powerful setup.
before we end this, ask you a question. Are you going to
Okay.
download Guild Wars 2 on Steam and try and link your existing arena account to it? Yes or no?
I'm I'm not gonna bother, but I think I probably would try that if I had a Steam Deck.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know, but I don't know. I'm so used to playing Guild Wars like on mouse and keyboard. I have no idea how the Steam Deck experience would work, but I am actually kind of curious.
Yeah, I'm also curious.
Like people, like one of the reviews said it works well. Is that does that mean like it just runs well? Or does it like play well as well? Like I don't know.
Maybe I'll try and get Daniel to download Guild Wars 2 on the Steam Deck, and I'll try it out.
I mean, yeah, it's free. It's quite big though, isn't it? Like it's
I'll tell you how big it is. Oh, I
I
don't
think
want
it's
to
like
hit play
60
now.
gigs outside of Steam. So
Okay. That was a quick news, guys. Quick news. Online features for the PT version of Dark Souls 3 have been reactivated. The other Dark Souls titles are still in the process of reactivation. So if you don't remember, we talked about earlier, there was a remote access exploit with the Dark Souls multiplayer that meant that bad actors could get into your computer through the Dark Souls servers.
yeah,
And they
wasn't
had
this
to
like
shut them
really bad?
down.
Like you could like get
And
almost full control of PCs.
I don't know the extent to it, but I know it was pretty. There was like a remote code exploit through like TF2 and Source Engine games, which Valve had to fix.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully, thankfully, that's been fixed for Dark Souls 3 if you want to play the online features, and they'll be coming for the other Dark Souls games as well. Wii U emulator Cemu is now open source, offers Linux builds. Cemu on the Steam Deck, anyone?
Is that what they're doing? I mean that's clever.
So that's pretty cool to see. Rumor, speculation. Star Wars KOTOR remake apparently has been removed from Texas-based Aspyr Media and moved to Saber Interactive Studio in Eastern Europe.
So this is a rumor.
I believe it's a rumor from Jason Schreier from Bloomberg.
Oh, okay.
So it's a
Right.
it's a
Inside
reputable
source.
rumor.
Yeah.
The reason I haven't linked to Bloomberg is Bloomberg has a paywall. So this is someone else
Okay.
reporting on the Bloomberg article.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's claimed
Interesting.
Embracer, Sony, and Disney were all unhappy with the progress of the remake. So
Yeah, I've heard there's been some production hell stuff going on.
somebody I saw pointed out that they took the remake development of an RPG from a non-RPG studio and gave it to another non-RPG studio.
Makes sense.
Which I think, if you're looking at it just like face value, that would be a reasonable assumption. But you have to also understand that these studios that Embracer have a track record of remastering completely different genres of games all the time, like Saber Interactive.
Yeah.
Remastered stuff like Crisis and the Master Chief Collection. But then
I would also say that you don't need like an expertise in that genre to be able to remaster it because the game's kind of already made. Like they've done the hard work of so it's not hard work to like remaster it, right? But they've done like the hard work of like the actual game design and like the mechanics, right?
then you look and they've done work on like racing games, fighting games, wrestling
Yeah.
games, like they NBA games, fishing games. It's like these are people who work on lots of different genres, sort of thing. So
Yeah.
the idea that they would be able to take, the heavy lifting of making the RPG is done because it's a remaster. It's bringing that
Yeah,
technology up
exactly.
to
I
modern
think
standards.
I think for a remaster, you want like good technical skills with the engine and stuff, be able to like remaster it properly more than like they're good at the genre that the game was originally. At least that's my opinion. And like I feel like Embracer stuff has like kind of showed that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not worried.
Next, that was quick news. Next topic is Quakecon. My nuts are quaking.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Trust me, when you fire this game up, your nuts are gonna start quaking, buddy. Your nuts are gonna start quaking. We've got a brand new free community add-on for the Doom and Doom 2 versions on Steam and GOG. So what it did is they took the original launchers for Doom and Doom 2, and they updated them and they added add-on support for third-party mods. Some of this stuff looks fucking awesome. So if you don't know, the Doom modding scene is just insanely cool.
Yeah. It's massive.
Taking stuff like Sigil Deathless and then like this Wrecker mod where it's like medieval Doom. I'm just like, this stuff looks sick. Because usually what I do is because I've been playing third-party Doom mods, I just took the WAD off Steam, didn't launch it, and then just slapped it into GZ Doom to install other Doom mods.
You just think it's like really easy to do if it like runs in GZ. If it runs,
well, I was saying like
different GZ Doom.
If a game runs in the Doom engine, you can just slap it into GZ Doom. Like Hexen, you can just take the WAD off Steam because it runs natively on DOSBox because they haven't updated it and put it into GZ Doom. I don't think Wolf 3D. I had to use a separate engine. There was a different third-party engine that I don't remember the name of right now. But so normally, so for Doom 1, I took the WAD, dropped it into GZ Doom, and played it with the ray tracing mod, which is not available through the official Steam releases. And then for Doom 2, I dropped it into GZ Doom because I was playing the Golden Souls, which turns Doom 2 into a 3D platformer, like Mario.
Okay, you're right.
So I've never actually played the non-modded, new updated Doom with the community add-ons on them, but I think I'm going to go back and try that at some point. So some of these community add-ons are cool, and it's like I love this way of officially supporting mods and making it really easy to install them and play them because I've really been enjoying doing it. Playing Quake, I've played the original Quake for the first time. I never played it before. I went back and I played the Night Dive remaster, and it's fucking phenomenal. I absolutely love Quake. We'll have a full tangerine at some point when I stop playing games and start talking about them. From Quakecon, I've played some Quake multiplayer, and I've even played the brand new game mode they just brought out for Quakecon, which is 3-Wave Capture the Flag. So 3-Wave was one of the first games or mod to implement the Capture the Flag game mode into an FPS game.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And also, so here's a brief history. 3-Wave CTF was first released in October 1996 by Zoid Kirsch. The mod back then was simple and remixed, existing game content to create something new. Matches take place on a single-player level modified to create bases. Players' keys were used in place of flags, and the grappling hook was an axe that fired a volleyball. While a little bit of imagination was required, this didn't hurt the mod's reception at all, and it caught on fire immediately. So, like, when you think about, like, constantly I want to talk about just how impactful id Tech is to just modern gaming. When you look at how Wolfenstein and Doom just completely invented the FPS genre, and how
it's insane.
Like Wolfenstein completely invented like the 3D genre, Doom the FPS genre, and then you look at Quake, how it invented like the multiplayer online esports scene as well. Like we owe so much of esports and multiplayer to Quake. It's insane. But I've been playing 3-Wave Catch the Flag. The grappling hook is fun as fuck. I really, really like it. Quake multiplayer is interesting. It seems like because when I was randomly playing Quake before QuakeCon, it was like there wasn't that many people playing the multiplayer. I did initially manage to join a rocket-only server, and then a bunch of people started joining, and we were all just like running around, like giving each other rockets. It was really fun.
Rocket-only.
But you can just you can load up your own servers and play like co-op with friends on Quake through the remaster. That's like a really cool thing to do. You can do like horde mode and stuff like that as well.
Okay.
But yeah, this update is really cool. I like the rune resistance update as well. You can get. Which maps were I playing? I'll tell you. I played Spill the Blood, which is 2-fort, kind of. Gloom Castle's cool. Capture High Hobopolis is cool because you get to like grapple up, grab the flag, like grapple down, go through a teleporter, you go through, there's like a tube where you grapple up into it and you go like flying up away from the enemies. Really cool. The Strongboxer is I know it, running around pushing buttons until you zap the guy in the lava. You don't know, the original boss of Quake is very easy to defeat. It's very disappointing. For the first episode, you just walk around pushing buttons in circles.
Okay.
But anyway, moving on. Steam news. The new Steam mobile app is in beta. So they've taken
Nice.
the work they've done with the Steam Deck to update the mobile UI, and they've put it onto phones now in beta. So I think anyone with an Android can sign up. I don't know if there's a limit on Android, but in order
to sign up on the website,
there's a link on the event, on the Steam News events.
Okay.
I tried to sign up on iOS, but in order to install the update in iOS, per Apple's guidelines, you have to install an app called TestFlight, and then you're only allowed a certain amount of people. So it was like only 10,000 people are allowed to test it. By the time I
oh my god!
I tried to test it, it just wouldn't let me. It said it was full.
Apple kicked you out.
So the iOS beta for this is full. I don't know if the Android beta is full because I don't have an Android device, but I'd recommend trying it. It seems like one of the big features that I saw was the app. You can now log in with QR codes, which I think maybe a deck feature. I'm not sure. You get smarter notifications, improved library, multi-account support. The Steam mobile app has needed updating for a long time because I'm somebody who uses it quite a bit, and I'm like, it definitely needs some changes, sort of things. Like,
I guess as well, like they're looking for feedback and stuff as well. If so, more people giving feedback, the better.
I've had trouble. Like sometimes I'm away from the house and I'm like, oh, there's a game on sale, I want to buy it. I've never been able to buy it on the Steam app, despite trying several times with different games. I don't know if it's something wrong with my card, or if it's just like it's a bug with the app. I don't know what it is, but
I'm gonna say I think it's probably a mixture of all of those, and the fact like it's like awkward even if when it does work. I've definitely bought stuff through it, but it's like really awkward.
All right, we're almost an hour in. Let's move on to Blunders.
Okay.
FIFA 23 accidentally sells for 6 cents. EA says it will honour the mistake. So EA had a blunder, and they've honoured the blunder. So there was a mistake on the Epic Games India pre-order page for FIFA 23, where they put up the price of the game for 6 cents.
I mean, that's as much as it should cost.
And then they changed the price. So it's supposed to be listed as 4,799. What's the currency of it? Is it
ruble?
Ruple?
I don't know.
Which would have been $60, but it was accidentally listed as 4.8 rubles.
Oh no!
Which meant it essentially cost 6 cents in US terms. How much is 6 cents in?
I don't know, like 4p.
6 cents to Great British pound sterling. It's doing it in US dollars. How many cents are in a dollar?
Put 0.01. Well, I guess not. Well, yes.
No, that doesn't make sense. For this conversion thing I'm looking at.
I'll give it a go.
Anyway,
it's going to be like 0.0. Was it how many cents? 6 cents.
6 cents. Is a cent?
Apparently,
it's cent like a penny.
Yeah. So apparently it's 5.2p.
They sold it for 5p, if our math is correct, and they're honouring it. But the reason I left this in the blunders was because not only did EA blunder, they decided to honour the blunder, but also someone pointed out in the comments, they said, well, the real profit's in the microtransactions anyway, so you might as well just give them the game for that much and just let them spend, way more than the base game on microtransactions.
In my opinion, if you're going to have microtransactions, like of any kind in the way they've implemented it, even like non-predatory. Like it should only be in free-to-play games.
Didn't they
So
try? Didn't they try and do that eFootball?
yeah, I think I can't remember what they
Was
like
eFootball free
Pez.
to play?
Yeah. I think they fucked
Yeah,
up in a specific. I can't
eFootball
remember how they fucked it up now.
2023. It was free to play, but then they had like coin currency that was just full on.
Yeah. Basically, all the football games are shit. That's what I've other than Rocket League, a football game.
I don't think it's in the same category. To be honest.
Okay.
Rocket League is a car rocket football game.
Right. Well, there's no
Um,
good. There's no good football game, even though like
Bungie will no longer be sunsetting any Destiny 2 expansions in the future, they've announced, which I've left in the blunders because why the fuck would you remove content people paid for in the first place? If you don't know about this, we talked about this previously.
Also, have they re-added it?
No.
Right, it's still a blunder then.
I don't believe so. They were adding a bunch of Destiny 2 shit to Fall Guys and Fortnite. That's the real news, guys. But there was an expansion for Destiny 2 that you could purchase, and there was content in it that you could play, and you could go back and play again. And then Destiny 2 was like, the game's getting too big. We're going to remove that content from the game. You can't play it anymore, basically.
Yeah,
Which is like a really shit thing to do.
It kind of reminds me of Guild Wars Living World Season 1. They just like it's a little bit different why, like for technical reasons why it doesn't exist and like it got removed. It is coming back slowly though, by the way. Guild Wars 2 Living World Season
1. Next up we have there was a reference to a PlayStation PC launcher was discovered in the Spider-Man PC files. This following the discovery of references to PSN account linking. Can't you wait to have to launch your Sony PlayStation games to the PlayStation launcher on PC instead of Steam?
Yeah,
or launch it through Steam and then have to log into another account like Ubisoft does?
Yeah, that sounds shite.
Or the Rockstar Social Club shit.
That sounds shite. The only way that could be better if I could play my PS3 games with it.
The Spider-Man PC port actually looks really good, really cool work from like Nix's software and
if you want to,
Insomniac.
Speaking of, I mean, we're in the blunder session, so I think I can talk about this. Like, if you want an open world game that isn't the shit Saints Row game, play the Spider-Man open world game.
You can mod Spider-Man to be. You can mod Spider-Man to be Kermit the Frog on the PC version. Have you seen some of the mods that people have done to replace
I've not seen. No, I haven't seen any of the mods yet. Like, are they crazy?
Yeah, Kermit the Frog. I've seen Saul Goodman replacing Spider-Man. Some other crazy ones. Next up we have Denuvo by Detto launches the industry's first Nintendo Switch emulator protection. So our good friends are trying to put Denuvo on the Switch.
I saw someone say like some games already run really poorly on the Switch, and then they couldn't wait for it to run even worse.
Yeah, I was like, I can't wait for Switch games to be slower and always online because that's what you want on a portable handheld console, is having to always log into an online server to be able to play a game.
I think that the thing is, Joe, the thing with Denuvo is it makes me really be thankful that pirating exists because I can download the version without Denuvo. Like, Denuvo just exists to have for a reason for pirates to exist, in my opinion. I just feel like it's like a blunderbuss that you shoot yourself to like try and get rid of piracy.
What I think is even more interesting is people are like, shit, there's going to be Denuvo on the Switch, and Nintendo's just says, nah, we got nothing to do with this. So Nintendo was just like, nah, we're not involved in this DRM shit. Almost, right. They didn't say like, we're against it, but they were just like, this has got nothing to do with us. Like, we're not directly involved with this sort of stuff.
Yeah, I can't. It just, guys, don't install Denuvo.
I think it's going to be like a developer by developer basis. Is
Oh
going to
yeah,
put this on,
100%. It has to be.
but how many will actually pick this up because they will be so delusional that they think that
Well,
putting de
do you think
novo
even
into their
if
Switch
you
game is going to stop enough piracy to
well, surely,
make
but
up
even
for
if you
the?
think it's like a good idea, like surely you would like implement it and go, "Oh no, the performance is terrible."
Yeah, I don't know. Like the Switch, even if there's a small overhead to running de novo, like the Switch is not a console you can afford any overhead
Yeah,
on.
exactly. Oh, yeah. I don't know. Someone must be asking for it though, right? If they're
Uh,
developing it.
Speaking of consoles, PS5 price decrease in select markets due to global economic environment, including high inflation rates. So um, I believe it's coming to all markets but the US, pretty much.
Yeah, which is that not like a massive fuck you? Like, oh, like
Hmm.
you're saying that like with the global economics having to do this, but like not for the richest country in the world.
Yeah,
Like that seems silly to me.
Europe,
It just
UK,
feels
Japan,
it feels
China,
terrible.
Australia, Mexico, and Canada, all the prices are increasing. Which I was already
I saw
complaining the other week about the MetaQuest 2 getting its price increased 2 years after
hmm,
launch. Now we're seeing the
yep.
PS5 getting its price increased, I believe,
How old is the
2 years.
PS5
Is it
now?
2 years
Is it
old?
2 years? It must be 2
Maybe
years old now, right?
maybe 1 year old. Let me PS5
I swear it wasn't Holiday of 2020 again.
November 2020. So almost
Not
two
quite
years.
two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
almost 2 years old.
In a way, I kind of understand it, but at the same time, it's an older system, and I swear they make a lot of money from selling games. So, like, I just feel like it's not.
But I think
I just don't agree with
I
it.
think PlayStation doesn't have the Xbox formula where Xbox is selling the series consoles at like a massive loss in order to just get people to subscribe to Xbox
Well,
Game Pass so they can make back the money that way. I
yeah.
think PlayStation is still selling to break even or for profit on the actual
I swear,
consoles
like
themselves.
I swear, a few months ago, they're saying like they're now selling PS5s like at a profit instead of like at a loss, like the actual console, not with games or anything.
Well,
So I
I
don't
might be
know.
wrong. I think another thing I've read apparently the PlayStation is going to weigh less.
What?
Yeah, that's something I just
What?
like. Sony's cut the PS5's weight after raising the price, and I'm just like, what?
What? I don't know how
So
that
it
works,
was
but
reported in
that's hilarious.
they've started to appear in Australia, and apparently the new models are like the digital version is 200 grams lighter, and the disc version weighs 300 grams less. So they've somehow reduced material and increased price. So they're really like double dipping, trying to save money on this.
Yeah. I just feel like Sony makes a ton of money from like the PlayStation side of it. They don't need to do this personally. I think it's very.
Yeah.
I get companies need to make money, but I just feel like this is like not. This isn't good, and I'm not gonna
So
defend them for
Xbox
it.
has responded to the PlayStation price hike and said that they will not be following suit. Um, they basically just said our price will remain the same. Um,
Yeah.
they said we're constantly evaluating our business to offer our fans great gaming options. Our Xbox Series suggested retail price remains the same. So they basically said we're not changing our price right now, but we're not closing the door completely. Is what I
So
get
watch
from it.
out.
And then also, Nintendo has been very chatty recently, apparently, because they've also responded to something else about de novo. They said um, they have no plans to increase the Switch costs. Also, what the
Okay.
fuck? Okay,
How old
Tim,
is the Switch?
this is a tangent. How the fuck do pre-owned Switch hold so much value? I was looking. My friend was like, "I want to buy like a Switch to play the Zelda Breath of the Wild." It's like, oh, surely you could just get like a refurbished Switch, and it'll be like way cheaper than buying a new Switch. And then it's
Mm-hmm.
like I'm looking at some of these refurbished Switch, and they cost like £300, and I'm like, you could buy a brand new Switch OLED for £300. This makes no sense. Why the refurbished ones cost as much as a brand new OLED Switch?
Yeah, I don't know. I can only assume it's like weird supply and demand. Is there like a reason to get like that edition of the Switch?
I mean, if you go to Amazon right now, you can buy an OLED Switch. I don't think there's any like
Okay.
back orders on them right
It's
now.
not bad. I know, but I know it used to be like back when it was like in the pandemic. But yeah, I thought that was like solved at this point.
I'm going on to Amazon. They are in stock.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
Stupidity is all I can think of there. Unless it's like an actual benefit to getting a
three hundred
an older
pounds for
an
three
older
hundred
model.
pounds, you can get a brand new OLED Switch.
Yeah, and I would recommend the OLED Switch over non-OLED as well. By the way.
But I'm just like, well, surely maybe if you got a Switch Lite, it may be a lot cheaper. But the Switch Lite isn't that much cheaper than buying like a fully
No.
fledged Switch. And also, Switch games massively hold their value because if you have like a physical copy of a Switch game, um, Nintendo never puts their games on sales. So buying like pre-owned
But
Switch games, like the physical editions, is
has their consoles ever been on sale? Like I swear that their console, like the Switch themselves, have always been at that price, like ever since release.
I don't believe. I feel like
Yeah,
the Switches
go to my
always cost
question
like
though.
around £300.
Go to my question. When did the Switch release? Like, how old is the?
2017, I think.
Okay, I feel like if the Switch was going up in price, I'd be mad because that's such an old console. Well, I
They
guess
li-
the OLED
they
version is
literally
new, but
re-released it and they kept it around the same price point.
yeah, that's what I find crazy. It's like you can't Nintendo, you can't say it's not going up in price. You haven't. It's an old console.
It's not like the PS5 was like, "Hey, we're like shrinking down the size of the PlayStation. Like we're actually changing the actual electronics on like like a PlayStation Slim version." Right?
Yeah,
Then
yeah,
they're not adding the value proposition of okay, we have a more advanced die, we can do the same amount of power but on a smaller nanometer or
yeah.
something like that.
Back in the old days.
Um, they're just cutting off material and increasing the price. Oh god,
2022.
we
What
need
are
to.
you?
Oh, Tony, this is my Paradox is doubling the price of Crusader Kings 3 DLCs after they've been released.
Yeah, I
Ah,
don't understand what's going on here.
guys, if you've released something in the past, you probably can't up. You probably can't retroactively increase the price of it now that you've realized that it's not as great a value proposition as you thought it was going to be
Yeah, I
for
think if
you
you like,
in
if
your
you release
profits.
like, I think if you then like release like another DLC of like a similar scale and go, we're like gonna double the price, that's different. But if
Yeah.
you've already released it, yeah, you can't. Yeah, you just can't. It just makes no sense.
I was like, it's unprecedented that the Meta Quest is increasing in price, and the PlayStation 5 is increasing in price, and Paradox is increasing DLC price that's
Yeah,
already been released. And I'm just like, is this the new trend? Are we gonna? Is everything gonna become more expensive after release?
yeah. I think that's a you release it cheap and then you increase the price.
Like I understand like a game releases in early access for a cheap price, it's half the game. But then Tony, you know guess this. What a lot of these developers do is they add value proposition to the thing that they've made that is in an earlier state,
Oh,
and
they add
then and then
updates and then
and
increase it.
then they increase the
Ah,
price.
that's what you're supposed to
Yes.
do. Yeah, because I could understand like if they went back, like oh these DLCs were like oh they like fell flat, no one liked them, so we went back and added them. And, oh, but now we've added this extra stuff, we're going to increase the price. Like I could kind of understand that,
Yeah.
but I would still okay. I'm putting kind of for that because surely you went in to add more content because people didn't like it to increase the value proposition back to where it should be. So like even then it's like not entirely sure. This just makes no sense.
Yeah, people are very not happy with Paradox
Because like
on
it's
this
a
one.
shame because like I'm really like people's response to it is like, oh yeah, the game's good, but like this is like a terrible decision.
Yeah. I think the
Uh,
whole thing was they were making most of that. I feel like the Pirates business models, they make all of their money through DLC because they always seem to be releasing DLC.
Well, yeah, their decisions are like they'll make a game that they plan on like keep adding DLC for like years, like 5 years.
It's
Like
like
that's always what is
they
that
make
plan?
these simulation management almost live service games where they
In a
release
sense, yeah.
the live service is the base game, and then they use these DLCs alongside free content updates in order to keep people
Yeah.
engaged in the game, sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Which I personally like. I don't have a problem with that. As like as a principle, I quite like that these games get updated for like years and years. But I think at the same time, you have to be because you're like relying on DLC to like be the source of income. I think you can't mess around with it, like
Yeah.
screw people over.
But yeah, they've said it's to do with to reflect the overall value of this kind of content moving forward. They didn't cite
Again,
inflation.
future content, go for
Yeah.
it.
Anyway, next up we have the Domina dev has had a meltdown after Valve banned him for false flagging reviews.
Oh yeah, I heard.
I don't know if you read about this, but I'll just read this post to you from the dev.
Okay.
Steam publishes dozens of fraudulent reviews of our games, and we flag them as such. Our flags are removed, and despite any evidence, the fraud review stands. No evidence is ever offered. We've done anything wrong with DLC, but the claims are echoed for eternity on B-level gaming blogs, just used as ammunition on Twitter. Circle jerks, disgusting. Now we can't even flag the lying reviews as fraudulent because nameless, cowardly Steam moderators who cannot interact with have final editorial control. How can we have a working relationship with a platform that actively wants us off the platform? At this point, it's doubtful that Domino will receive future updates on Steam. Oh, go on. What are you going to say?
I just love the idea that they think that like there are people going there going, "Oh, I hate this developer. I'm going to leave a negative review." Not like it's going to average out to everyone giving valid reviews.
He said he doesn't want to release any more updates on Steam. He said, if that upsets you, I encourage you to talk to Gabe Newell. His ship is sinking, and he doesn't give a fuck. Integrity is key. Centurion, adapt, adopt, improve. And then he's done an update on this and said, the Steam mods banned me from the Domina forum for a week, ostensibly for strong language. But if you hold a mirror up to the world, 80% of them will throw a brick at you. Exactly 0 human beings have the balls to put their name to the ban. Cowards and clowns. What a stupid company to work at. It must be so sad collecting so much money from people who actually create something and then banning their opinions. I wonder how many stomach ulcers are at Valve. How many Prillo sex is prescribed to them. 0 cocks among them. That's obvious. What a pity. And then he linked to Centurion, a man made of 100 men.mp4. I don't know what this is.
I was gonna say I didn't know what the response from the dev was. I only heard there's like someone was being like a piece of shit.
Oh no, the Domino dev's been like people have been critical of the game and he's been removing them. And
yeah.
When people are like, hey, my review's completely legit and it keeps getting removed, Steam banned him, he's like, those soy boys at Steam, they'll rue the day that they banned the Domino dev from Steam. This guy sounds like he has like some sort of weird like Loki god complex sort of thing going on. How dare you, Gabe Newell, in your yacht? Ban the Domino dev. It's so strange because everything I've heard like overall about this game is quite positive. Like I've got one of my friends played this game and he said he quite liked it, and I was like, this looks an interesting game. And I see this news article about the Domino dev, and I'm like, this person might be slightly unhinged. Like, it's a shame when devs go a bit loopy. Like, good guy Notch goes fucking insane on the he sells Microsoft and just goes loopy. But yeah.
This is weird. Like, if it was doing like, what were the Steam reviews of the game? Like, what's it standing? Well, what was it standing, I suppose, before he went up
I
crazy?
believe after this post went on August 6th, the reviews moved to mostly negative from,
Yeah.
I think it was mostly positive.
Okay, so it went from positive. So like he was like, oh, so like okay.
But this
So basically, he
was
expected like a perfect score, and he wasn't getting it. And there's like, I'm gonna. They
somebody
must be wrong.
said
They must be
somebody
trolling.
said was a good game at one point, and the devs started locking content behind paywalls and posting about political crap in the patch notes.
Oh god.
Used to like this game for a couple of days, but now the dev is a right-wing extremist who screws about how the world is out to get him. He tried to control his negative reviews and made his bed. I wouldn't buy anything from them in the future seeing this behavior. It seems like, the devs took his own personal views and beliefs and started putting them into like patch notes for the game. Or it seems like anyone or like paywalling content that was already available in the game. According to this review, I haven't played the game. And people weren't happy about this. They, gave negative reviews. But yeah, it seems like the dev's a bit unhinged, and it seems like Steam probably did the right thing from banning him from talking on the forums.
Yeah. Well, if he's
Maybe
abusing
given
the forums, because I think if you're like because you have control of your own stuff and you start abusing the power, I
now
think it's the right decision.
we're doing the podcast like several days after it's supposed to happen. So there's news that's come out like afterwards of a different topic. But it's going
Okay.
to be like next week, we're going to be talking about the other side of the coin, where
Right.
Steam has acted against people who have using the Steam curator system to genuinely abuse the negative review system.
Okay.
So that's going to be interesting to look at like the comparison between the two. But let's move on
A
because
legit concern of like this,
we
not
do
yeah.
not have time to like go through everything now. That's
Okay.
happened in the past couple of days since we were supposed to. So let's keep moving on. We're still in the blunders section now because there's so many blunders this week.
Yeah.
Rockstar Games has DMCA striked the original creator of GTA. He was uploading, I think it was YouTube videos of prototype videos of GTA, and they have DMCA striked him, saying, "We own these. You can't have access to these. These are properties of Rockstar Games."
That's crazy. Wait, do they own the rights to like not be able to show prototypes? Do they have that?
I think it's a legal grey enough area that Rockstar's just going to do what the fuck they want. So.
Right. Okay. I just feel that's crazy. Like it shouldn't even be a gray area. Like it should be like pretty cut and dry.
Well, I wouldn't expect fucking Rockstar to take down VR mods that add value proposition to the game that require you to legally own a base version of the game. I wouldn't expect Rockstar to take down a reverse engineered code for the original GTA trilogy that has zero of their intellectual code inside of it.
Right. They
But,
still do
Take-Two and Rockstar have just shown that they have no fucking idea what they're doing 90% of the time,
it.
and
Yeah.
they will continue to take down this stuff for no reason. So,
Take Two is very shit.
I don't know. Let's move on to business
Wow.
news. Oh, wait, no, we have VR
What?
news.
VR.
VR news. Town Scraper VR. I showed that prototype on an earlier podcast because I was like, oh, this looks really
Yes.
cool. It's confirmed to be releasing on the Quest and Pico headsets in October, which is really
Pico.
disappointing. So, Pico is a name I've heard a lot because I watched a lot of like VR stuff. But if you don't
Yeah.
know what the Pico headsets are, they're basically they're the leading Chinese market VR
Oh,
headset.
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So the Pico, I think, is like getting close to being in like I think it's the Pico 4's the newest one. I think it's like getting close to being like it's essentially like if you think about it, essentially it's like the Chinese Quest 2, like the Pico.
Right.
Um, either the Pico 4's coming or it's out. It'll be the Pico 3 currently, but um,
Okay.
I think so. Yeah, somebody's. I'm just reading a comment here. The Pico Neo 3 has specs slightly behind the Quest 2, since the link cables provide a much better image quality than the Quest 2 when hooked up to PCs. Otherwise, they are comparable spec-wise. So the
interesting.
the Pico Neo 3 and the Quest 2 are quite similar, but I think is Pico owned by ByteDance, the TikTok people?
That would kind of make sense,
Yeah,
wouldn't it?
so ByteDance, the
Yeah.
TikTok parent company, owns Pico. But, yeah, so I have knowledge of Pico from just from my watching lots of
From
VR
the
content.
metaverse, you could say.
Yeah, I've been to the metaverse. I've been in VR chat before.
Okay.
Which I think is I watched the Joe Rogan Experience recently with Mark Zuckerberg, and I was listening to him talk about the metaverse, and it's so interesting to hear like
What he thinks.
what he thinks the metaverse is going to
Yeah.
be, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I just wanted to say,
Oh yeah, okay, right, you're right.
Yeah, cool to see Townspeople come to the Quest and the Pico. It makes sense that you want them on standalone headsets. Disappointed that it's not coming to Steam VR as well, though. I'd love to play this on Steam
Yeah, I
VR.
was.
Because
What the reason is for that?
I've been I've streamed like me pissing about on Townscraper.
Oh yeah.
Just playing on
You've
Steam.
launched it many times. Like you just
Yeah, I just
play
launching
a little bit.
Townscraper and building a couple of cities and experimenting with
Yeah,
stuff. But I'm like,
it's
this would
very
be so cool
satisfying.
on VR. But I think the idea is that you have Quest for the American market and then Pico for the Chinese market is the
Right.
idea, and that's where they're going to try and regroup the cost. You only have to make one standalone like an Android-based version for the standalone headsets. That way, you cut development costs of not having to make the full-fat PC VR version, and
Yeah.
then you just shove it out to the Chinese market and the standalone American market. And maybe they have a deal with Oculus for exclusivity. I don't know, which would bring in even more money. It seems like it's a business. It's a business.
Oh yeah.
Move
Yeah,
this,
100%.
which is fair enough.
Yeah, I can't. It's yeah. From a customer sort of point of view, it's a bit annoying, but I can completely
I
understand it.
think we have no word on. I don't think he specifically said. I don't think he specifically said it's not going to come to PCVR, but we don't have they haven't said if it's coming to PCVR or not. I think I'm just assuming based on that they announced it for the Pico and the Quest that it's not coming as of yet.
I suppose we don't know how much work it is to bring it to the PC VR.
So they've been showing off it running at Gamescom on the Quest, and it seems like it runs pretty well. So that's cool to see. We got some footage of it working. That's pretty cool. So Mark Zuckerberg has responded to the metaverse meme. So he promises to upgrade Horizon's graphics after his screenshot went viral. I don't know if you've seen the screenshot.
Yeah, I have.
So this is what he posted on Facebook. We're launching Horizon Worlds in France and Spain today. Looking forward to seeing people explore and build immersive worlds and bring them to countries soon. Now, the whole idea of the metaverse was this social experience, being able to meet up with people. But people were pointing out how the metaverse photo he posted, like the avatars in the world, looked like it was like a GameCube game or a Nintendo Wii game sort of level graphics.
Well, the Wii is a Nintendo Cube, right? So.
But people have taken that image and they've created memes about it with the World Baby meme on the Wii. And then they've added like more and more clearance stickers to it to be like, no one wants to buy World Baby. Because they're like, well, it looks like...
World Baby.
The avatars do look very like babyish like as well, which I find very strange. But when I was watching him talk on the Joe Rogan Experience, he was saying like it was interesting to see his thoughts because he was saying like he thinks the metaverse and working in the metaverse and stuff like that and the social experience of the metaverse is going to be more compelling when you have eye tracking. You're able to look at people in VR. When you have like haptic feedback, the ability to feel things. He thinks like
But isn't that
that's
just the real world?
no. He thinks that sort of experience is going to immerse you more than like metahuman level um insanely realistic human avatars. He thinks the
Right, right.
interaction of VR is going to be more immersive to people than the high level, um, you know,
I,
high level graphics avatars, which you can see. Obviously, his ethos is playing out here with the lower quality versions of the Metaverse Horizon game, sort of thing. But it just like we don't have the full. We don't have the Cambria release yet, but from what we know about it, it's going to have stuff like eye tracking, um, like probably foveate rendering. We think it's going to have like OLED panels. It's going to be very high resolution, so text is going to be very readable. Like it seems like the camera is going to be very focused on like wearing headsets for a
yeah.
long time or working in VR sort of
I
thing.
just I don't disagree with like yeah, the more like the subtle things of like 'cause obviously obviously like different like, about it or worse experience, like there's different art styles where it's not like it has
Mm.
to be ultra realistic to be compelling. It's just I just feel like he's kind of missing the point of like why would you want to like be working in
Yeah.
VR? Like I
If
just don't
if
get it.
if you ask me what I thought was a more compelling what I thought was a more compelling experience in VR, whether it was like more interactive avatars or better looking avatars,
Yeah.
I personally would choose the more interactive avatars. Like
Yeah,
I've
100%.
had compelling social experiences just playing stuff like Gorilla Tag, more
Yeah.
so than I have playing like high definition like other social
Yeah.
experience games. Like I
Yeah.
think when you have that interactivity, it doesn't matter if the person you're talking to looks like a gorilla or they look like an anime avatar. Like as long as you have that interaction there, you can kind of forget what they look like. Sort of
Oh
thing.
yeah,
Like
yeah. I
you
don't
don't need
disagree
to be
with that.
talking to like a high definition human being to have like a connection with that person. I think.
Yeah. But also, but I feel like what Mark Zuckerberg is talking about is like more than just like an experience you can turn off and on. Like you kind of want it to be like this. Oh, you can like maybe not wake up in the metaverse, but
Mm.
like have enjoyment in the metaverse. Like do your stock market in the metaverse. Go to work in the metaverse. And, like, I just
Well,
don't understand.
I do think it was interesting when you pointed out, like, clearly we do crave these social experiences, especially through the pandemic, where people were having like Zoom calls or FaceTiming people, like talking with video chats
Yeah,
over the phone and stuff. And he was saying like one of the biggest things about video chats is in order to look someone in the eye, you need to be looking at the camera. But if you're looking at the camera, you're not looking at the person. So either you're looking them in the
yeah.
eye or you're looking at the person. But that's what he's saying. Like, I genuinely think not just for social experience, but through stuff like foveated rendering, where you can render only where you're looking at to get massive performance gains. Like eye
Hmm.
tracking is going to be a massive thing in VR.
Oh
Like in
yeah,
the next
I
couple of
agree.
headsets, I was really surprised if I I, Cambria is launching with eye tracking. I think Steam's next VR headset will almost definitely launch with eye tracking, and
Yeah.
I
I
think
think for
eye
the
tracking
performance
is going
increase
to
is
be
needed.
a big thing in VR. But he has responded to the criticism a week later and said, "I know that the photo I posted earlier was pretty basic, and um, he has posted a new photo with the updated graphics, which I think look a lot more improved than World Baby. This is maybe more World Switch, Metaverse Switch edition."
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have to see. I think the arts, like the actual world he shows from the new stuff, is really cool. How are you going to get that to run on like a Quest 2? I don't think you'll be able to.
Yeah, but I think the biggest thing with all this, like, I'm not like, I don't like hate on like the technology, right? Like, it's more
Yeah.
like the way that he wants it to be implemented. Like, I just
Um.
feel like is like not the antithesis of what people
Yeah.
actually want
I
from
think
VR.
I love VR and I love the I number one I love the games and I also love the social experiences it
Yeah,
can give you through playing multiplayer VR and stuff like that. I don't like that it's become a buzzword, the metaverse, and companies are investing in this idea of that we're going to want to work by wearing VR headsets, where if you've worn a
I
VR
hate
headset
that.
for a couple of hours, you'll know that that's a very, very undesirable thing to want to have to wear to
I
do
feel like
work.
even if like it was like even if that was gone though, like I feel like people will miss. I feel like we shouldn't undervalue the real world. Like I feel like I'm gonna do a Star Trek here, but I feel like experiencing the real world and not like just looking at the virtual stuff, I think is worth doing. I
Hmm.
feel like they want to just forget about that and like no, like
Anyway,
let's
let's
just
move on to business news. Embracer Group has
business.
acquired Limited Run Games, Tripwire Interactive, the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit IP rights, Tuxedo Labs, and Singtrix. So, let's break this down a little bit. Limited Run Games. I know about these games. I don't know if you know what they do, but they do like physical collector's editions of like releases of
Oh
games,
yes,
mostly from the Switch, from what I've seen. But they seem to
right,
like
yeah, I've heard of
specialize
them.
in like the Binding of Isaac physical edition on Switch, the Dusk
Yeah,
on Switch, or like an old retro game re-released on Switch and have a physical edition because people really like to collect these games in order to preserve them, sort of thing.
yeah.
Tripwire, obviously, Tripwire, the biggest game I think they're known for is Killing Floor. Tuxedo Labs, you'll know if you know the game Teardown. They do Teardown, which is like the voxel-based physics simulation game. Bitwave Games, who make modern retro games. Also, Toe Plan Games. So they're starting this Bitwave initiative,
Okay,
which will so Bitwave Games with the backing of Free Mode. So Embrace of Free Mode is the newly formed operative group focusing on 6 broad and diverse business market segments. They're going to feature on retro, classic, heritage gaming and entertainment, game development, production, devices, gears, and collectibles. So you have like Tripwire for developing games, Limited Run for physical editions, Tuxedo Labs for their expertise in physics-based and voxel-based. Then you have Singtrix. So if you don't, I looked up Singtrix because I didn't know. Singtrix were some of the original creators of Guitar Hero, and
okay,
when I looked them up, they make basically auto-tuned karaoke machines. So they basically
right,
they sell like this microphone which you sing into to songs, and it like auto tunes your voice on the fly to help you sing along to it, sort of thing. Um,
yeah,
it seems like they're still like trying out that Guitar Hero spirit, sing star spirit sort of thing, where they're doing that, but they're putting it into like a physical product sort of thing. And then they talked about this idea of having like a division for like peripherals and stuff like that. They're also buying Geotech, who is a big third-party controller and headsets maker. So they make tons of like peripherals, headsets, mice, controllers, all that sort of stuff. So it seems like this big acquisition is like they're trying to flesh out all of the Embracer Group areas. So they're like, oh, we need to make a physical edition of this game, Limited Run Games. We want to make some peripherals. Geotech can help us with that sort of thing. So it seems like they're adding more support groups to help, flesh out bigger projects, sort of thing, and also expand into other
yeah.
territories that they don't already have their foot in.
Like, I guess like with that kind of strategy they've kind of sort of been doing on a smaller scale before, and it
Yeah,
seems to be working out. So
yeah.
I think
Interesting.
it's going to work well for them, I suppose. Maybe I mean, I look at the stuff that Embracer does, and like all of it's sensible.
Well, like the Destroy All Humans 2 remaster that
Yeah,
came out, I think it was yesterday.
yeah, it wasn't that long ago. It
Uh,
was very good, by the way,
Tony,
guys.
I don't think you can be saying that based on the things you've been saying earlier in the podcast.
That's true,
They did.
but I still feel like
They did. THQ Nordic did release Saints Row on the FX Game Store in the state that it's currently in.
well. Yeah, I don't entirely blame Embracer for that though. That's like a weird one because apparently it was like done like in association with the Embracer. There's like a weird thing, but yeah, that is like the one negative. But I will say the idea of like trying to redo Saints Row isn't a stupid idea. Like I don't have a problem with the premise.
I'm just trying to think if there's anything interesting here based on the acquisitions that we've seen. We could have like a physical limited edition. We could have like Deus Ex on the Switch. Imagine they just remaster the original Deus Ex and put it on the Switch, like Night Dive style, like a physical edition of Deus Ex on the Switch, or like Deus Ex peripherals and stuff like that. That would be cool. Anyway, let's move on to delays, cancellations, and announcements, and then we'll watch some Gamescom trailers and we'll end the podcast. So, announcement: Slime Rancher 2 is launching on September 22nd in Steam Early Access, and High on Life, the Rick and Morty Guns That Talk game, has been delayed to December 13th. So we have some Gamescom trailers to watch quickly, and then we will end the podcast. So we have another trailer for Dead Island 2, sorry. I chose to show the brief snippets of gameplay we got instead of the trailer. The trailer is basically like another one of those cinematic trailers that they do. You know, one of the really funny things I read recently was that the Dead Island 2 guys said that they were inspired to get the game going again because they saw the Goat Simulator 3 trailer which was the fake Dying Light 2 Dead Island 2 trailer, which I was
just thinking, where do I recognize this trailer from? It's a Goat Simulator.
Yeah. But yeah, that is coming February 3rd, 2023, and it's going to be an Epic Game Store exclusive.
Oh, I can't wait.
So it's come 2024 to Steam. Speaking of Dead Island and zombie games, Dying Light 2 is getting its first story DLC.
Nice.
So this is its first story DLC called Bloody Ties, and it's coming October 13th. I don't know anything about the Dying Light 2 story because I haven't played it, but I guess this sets place after the events of Dying Light 2. I don't know, it seems like some sort of weird like arena where you have to fight zombies or other humans or stuff like that, but it looks pretty fun, so I'm interested to try it out. Looks like it could be cool, and that's coming October 13th. Friend versus Friend. Tony, it's another game designed for me. It is a 1v1 or 2v2 online card-based FPS game. I mean, there's already been an amazing card-based game come out this year called Neon White, which is a card-based FPS game. Shame about all the anime they had to put into it. But the
anime's good. What do you mean?
It's literally, I think it's the worst part of the game. Not because I don't like it, but because it is just fucking cringe. Like, other people think it is.
Sounds like you don't like it.
No. Literally, read the reviews for Neon White.
Right.
I'm not the. It's not Joe doesn't like this because he doesn't, like that sort of thing. It's like it's genuinely not good. The story and the dialogue in the game.
Right.
That aside, Friend vs. Friend looks really fucking fun. I'm excited to try this one out. Looks like it could be really cool. So it's an interesting concept. Definitely gonna check that one out. Is that we have... Oh, okay, this one really fucking confused me. So I saw this and I said, The Lords of the Fallen, didn't that game come out in 2014? I was so fucking confused. Because yes, it did. It was called Lords of the Fallen, not The Lords of the Fallen. So it's a reboot or it's a sequel with the same name.
Is it actually the same?
Much?
Yeah, is it the same? Like it's like actually the same like idea though.
The Lords of the Fallen, it was like a Souls-like game, and I think Souls games have been insanely popular since Dark Souls, but especially since Elden Ring has been insanely popular this year. I don't know how long they've been working on this because it's from what I understand, just like a cinematic trailer. Maybe they thought it was a good time to reboot the Lords of the Fallen, because I was watching Gamescom with a friend and he said, "Oh, I played the original Lords of the Fallen. I never finished it. Maybe I should try playing it again." Like, all I remember about Lords of the Fallen was there's the guy with like the Viking mohawk haircut on the cover of the game, and that's all I remember about it. I didn't even remember it was a Souls game.
Well. And look, I mean, I'm obviously like we're not gonna got any gameplay, right? But like the premise like looks good from what I'm seeing here.
I mean, the original game was developed by the Surge dev, which was Deck 13 Interactive.
Right.
Who's developing this one? I shouldn't know. I don't think we have a release date for this even.
Wait, hold on. Yeah. YouTube considers this Lords of the Fallen 2.
Oh, let's have a look. Lords of the Fallen 2? Maybe they are gonna. Because if you type the Lords if you type the Lords of the Fallen, it comes up with Lords of the Fallen, the fucking 2013 game.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Also, watch this hashtag dare to hope. What's going on?
I am daring to hope. I
hope this is a good game.
Anyway, I thought this was more. I'm not really a Dark Souls player, but I thought this was, that genre of games.
Yeah, I think
it was more interesting. So I was so confused by it being a reboot with the same name, like, or maybe a sequel. I don't know. Atlas Fallen. So you remember I was just talking about the Surge dev, Deck 13. They're making an action RPG, a new one called Atlas Fallen. So, if you've seen the Surge, they worked on that game, and I believe it had positive reviews. I've never played it. I think I own it. I'll try and play it at some point because it looks right up my alley. So when it comes to the idea of action RPGs or Dark Souls versus like hack and slash, I've always been more on the side of hack and slash games because I massively prefer fast, fluid motion games. You'll know that if you've seen the other games I play. Like, I love movement in games. I love like fast, slick movement.
It feels more rewarding. Like you feel like you're always doing something.
Well, I can see it both ways because, like, the Souls likes they have that slow, clunky motion, but it's slow.
They like the deliberate decision.
It's slow, purposeful. Meaning when you land that hit, it feels good because you put so much effort into making sure you didn't miss in the first place. Whereas the enjoyment from a hack and slash comes from throwing out lots of attacks very fast and being able to consistently land them, sort of thing, and then moving around into an attack or attacking into a move, and just this constant flow of playing the game and never having to slow down or stop too much is what I think is genuinely really fun about these fast-paced games.
I think I'm entirely with you on that. Like I can appreciate both, but I would lean more to the fluid combat.
I don't know if this is. Total Biscuit has a curator review for the original The Surge, and he said, without question, inspired by Dark Souls, the sci-fi Souls-like does a lot right, including excellent weighty combat and adds more complex meter management and mechanics.
Okay. It's interesting.
Yeah. Whether this will be more faster than a Souls-like game, we'll have to wait and see. There is another one that is coming up at the end that is definitely like a full hack and slash game. Next up, we have Moonbreaker. So, I saw this game and I didn't know who was developing it, and I was like, oh, this looks really, really cool. So it's a strategy, turn-based, model-based combat game. So it's sort of like XCOM or Warhammer, where you have like these physical models and then you lead them to make attacks. And it also has that element where you can paint the individual models in the game like you would paint a Warhammer model. Like, I saw this and I immediately was like, I got to show this to my friend Matt, because he loves like painting Warhammer models and playing strategy games like that. And I thought, well, like people like to relax by playing stuff like Power Wash Simulator. Like, if you're one of those people who likes to relax by painting models, wouldn't it be like super relaxing if there was a game where you could just paint lots of models without having to spend lots of money buying all the individual figures and stuff like that? I understand there's more
Yeah.
to it than that, but that seems like a good compromise. See if I can skip to the painting part. I like that
Huh?
some people complain when I was reading about people's um, ideas about this because they were saying, "Oh, you made like these high res looking models, but they look so clunky." And it's like, but I think the idea is they're like physical models and they're clunky on purpose, so they look
Yeah.
like they're actual like physical models. And the idea is that
It.
you want to paint them and own them and have some ownership to that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. I think the
I
aesthetic
think
is very clear to me,
I
but
think the
okay.
aesthetic is really cool. I really really
Yeah,
like it.
yeah, it is.
But Tony, another thing I saw people complaining about, which I think is for unjustified reasons, this is the next game from Unknown Worlds, the developers of Subnautica.
Yeah. So people have been complaining that. Wait, wait. Okay, I don't know. Okay, go
What?
on. People complaining about like developing another game.
People are saying, "Oh, why didn't you just make Subnautica 2? Why are you wasting your time on this trash?" And I'm just like,
Right.
imagine if the next SteamWorld game came out and someone's like, "Oh, why don't you just make SteamWorld Dig
Well,
3? Why are you making this trash instead?" It's like they're
what did you
trying
say?
something new. Why are devs not
Charlie.
allowed to
Well,
make other games?
Charlie Cleveland has a pinned comment here saying there's two devs, one that makes Subnautica and one making this game.
Yeah, so
There's two teams.
it's not even taking up development time from another Subnautica game.
Oh my god! Yeah, people like start raging at development and like they have like no idea. I mean, we don't have any idea either, but I feel like we have more of an idea than a lot of people. Oh,
Moving out too. This was a very popular pandemic, or like I think it came around the pandemic time. It was basically like the Overcooked idea, where it was instead of running a restaurant, you would have to move around a bunch of furniture in like this wacky, chaotic co-op game. Um, Reminds me a lot of Ember, the firefighting game, is in the art style and like the
oh,
physics and stuff like that. I've never played the original, but I have some friends who basically got together and played through it all together and had a fun time play. Well, had a fun time until they. It has that like I don't know if you ever played Overcooked 2, but I don't think it's possible to play Overcooked 2 without hating someone after playing it. Um,
no, I've never played it.
but is it
I just watch other
like
people.
they say with like Mario Party or Mario Kart.
Yeah,
You start off and you're like, it's so fun to play Mario Kart, and then you play it and you're like, I fucking hate you people. Why am
I
I playing?
can't believe you
Yeah,
cheated.
you got a bullet bill on the last fucking lap. I hate you so much.
Uh,
But I would say the big improvement from this one was the fact that it's going from local co-op only to online co-op, and it's coming next year. So I think that is a big improvement for someone who plays these games more on the online and the PC. So
so what you're saying is you want to become a fart.
yes.
Okay.
Tony, there's a new Tales from the Borderland game, which was, I would say,
Yeah, I
pretty
actually saw this.
a pretty popular Telltale Borderlands game.
Yeah,
But the big difference here, Tony, is Gearbox are making this, so this is not one from Telltale. Um,
which kind of makes sense considering what happened.
but from what Gearbox said, they said a lot of people who are working on this from Gearbox are the people who were working with Telltale to make the original one.
Right.
What I'm hoping is the humor's more like Borderlands 2 than it is Borderlands 3, because
Yeah.
from the brief Borderlands 3 I played, from the free weekend it did, I was just like, this dialogue is tough to listen to. I was like, this is not good.
It's more
Um,
shouty and not clever.
Now, this game's coming out October 21st. I don't actually know if it's going to be an Epic Game Store exclusive. Check. Let me look it up. Something you have to do. You can't just say a game's coming out. You have to check if it's going to be available on Steam.
Yeah,
it's going to be
feels bad.
it's going to be available on Steam, so it's not an Epic Store exclusive. So it's coming out on October 21st. Tony, I hope it goes on sale. I have this running meme where Borderlands 3 is always on sale. Tiny Tina's Wonderland seems to always be on sale whenever I look at it.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
it's not even that old.
hopefully, new Tales from the Borderlands will be in a perma sale to keep up the meme that the Borderlands games are always on sale. Next up we have Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the game. This one's really interesting for a couple of reasons. It's a new asymmetric horror game, which I'm a fan of. I think Dead by Daylight just is leaps and ahead above anything else. It seems like most of the attempts have not done very well. Stuff like last year, The Nightmare kind of crashed and burned. It's not even limited to like Behavior Interactive, because Behavior Interactive tried to make another Dead by Daylight style game called Death Garden, which like crashed and burned. But then there was another game called Friday the 13th, which is actually a really, really decent asymmetric horror game with Jason from Friday the 13th. But that got completely fucked because the IP owners of the game basically stopped them from adding content to the game, stopped them from really selling too much for the game, and basically you have to like host your own servers now for that game. Even though I've played the single player for it, and it's pretty decent from that game. Like, it's a cool game, but it's a shame what happened to the devs as a result of the IP. But this game is from the Friday the 13th developers, so they're
nice.
trying again. But Tony, Killer Clowns from Outer Space is a film. So they're doing it so this is based on an IP of another 80s cult classic movie. So I'm just looking at this and I'm going, well, it's a cult classic. It's a horror cult classic. So it's more of an underground film. I'm looking at this, I'm going, that's cool that they got this cult classic horror film that people really like. It's cool that the devs get another chance, but I'm also going, what happens if the Killer Clowns from Outer Space decide they don't want you to have the IP rights anymore? Are we going to get another Friday the 13th situation?
Yeah.
That's just what we're
hoping
really
they've let the mistake and get a better license deal, which means they can't just pull out like that.
Yeah, hopefully.
That's my hope, anyway.
And then finally, we have what I alluded to earlier. We have Phantom Hellcat, a new hack and slash game. I just thought this game looks really, really fun. It looks fluid and fun and fast. It's fast, it's fun, it's Phantom Hellcat.
It's furious.
I'm just going to see if there's a new Pete.
Oh yeah, the kinetic impact and stuff looks really. Wait, there's platforming?
Okay, I'm in.
There's 2.5D platforming. I mean, it's probably. It was just a side camera view.
3D platforming.
Yeah, but still, it was still a nod. I think that's really good. That's really good. I want to see more.
Okay, so let's read the P-Emology tweet and end the podcast.
The most important timestamp.
Peter Molyneux here saying, looking at recent data, I need to make a game where the protagonist is a cat with a gun. And there it is. Looking at the recent data, Peter, you need to release a game where it's a skateboard attached to a gun. That's what we need. And we need it to be
without the metaverse.
And we need it to be in the metaverse where you can play to earn.
If you don't earn and own the land in the metaverse, what's the point of a skateboard with a gun?
Check us out and everything in between podcast on YouTube if you want to watch the VODs of the YouTube, unless I forget to upload them there, which I usually do. Twitch.tv/Scorn if you want to watch live. Usually not on the date we say we're going live because I'm usually busy doing something. And at Scorn 2000 if you want to follow me there for some reason, even though I don't post anything. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.